You have been carrying a weight that does not belong to you. Something has happened to your name, to your reputation, and to the authority that flows through your very identity, and you have felt a silent resistance that no one around you can understand. Stop right now. What I'm about to reveal is not for everyone, but it is, without question, for you. There is a spiritual battle happening in the background of your everyday life, an assault against your name that has tried to paralyze your progress and cloud your clarity. You have felt this tiredness, haven't you? A tiredness that sleep does not fix and that logic cannot explain. Throughout this broadcast, you will recognize the 5 specific signs that have been repeating in your routine and what they mean in the spiritual realm. You will understand the nature of the frequency that has been trying to infiltrate your sphere of influence, and more importantly, you will learn the exact authority needed to bind everything that rises against your purpose. Before this moment ends, I will speak a declaration of protection over your life that will serve as a turning point, transforming the way you perceive your own authority. Stay with me, because the layer beneath your current pain is where your true strength is stored. You have noticed, perhaps with growing strangeness, that conversations that used to flow naturally now feel empty, as if there is a pane of glass between you and the world. Doors that should open easily remain locked, not for lack of effort, but because of a blockage you cannot touch. You wake up in the middle of the night, often around 3 in the morning, with a restlessness that is not just physical, but a call to watch over something trying to move toward you. And there is that constant, almost silent feeling that you are being forgotten or left behind, while people with less preparation take spaces that seem destined for you. These signs are not proof that you have failed. They are proof that you are being tested on a deeper level than most, and that the resistance you feel is the direct result of the light you carry. Your fingers typing those 3 numbers are your spirit saying yes. It is the smallest possible agreement, but it is a real agreement with the authority being restored in you right now. Type 888. Attention! You need to prepare yourself now. I have prepared material for those who doubt their own calling from God and still do not have confirmation. Are you one of the chosen? We'll give you that clarity. These are the 7 signs of the language of the calling, marks of God in the story of every chosen one, so you can reread your story and recognize the purpose sealed over you before the foundation of the world. Stop calling coincidence what is actually a calling. Stop silencing the sacred restlessness. Stop postponing the answer you feel. Your window is closing, and a chosen one who does not recognize the calling does not walk in purpose. More than 10,000 people have already read the 7 signs and received the conviction they had been seeking for years. They were just like you. They felt something no one understood. They lived in silent doubt, and they discovered it was real. And it had a name. The offer is open only this month. Access the link in the pinned comment now, before doubt steals another year from your calling. Then come straight back to me. The diagnosis of your exhaustion is not a lack of faith, nor is it a lack of ability. What has been happening is that you have been operating from a pattern of self-effort, trying to sustain with your hands what can only be maintained by spiritual alignment. You have been fighting battles that should have already ended, spending your energy on ropes that are no longer attached to anything. The biggest mistake, the one that has drained your reserve, is trying to force open doors that the resistance is actually protecting you from walking through. You feel exhausted because you are trying to push destiny, when in reality your current role is not to push but to bind. You have worn yourself out trying to prove your worth to an audience that was never assigned to validate your name. There is a fundamental difference between being resilient and being drained by an energy that does not recognize your authority. As long as you keep trying to overcome this resistance with the strength of your arms, the door will remain sealed. You need to understand that what comes against your name is not only after your silence, it is after your distraction. You have been distracted by the need to understand why, when what you need is the clarity of who you are. Exhaustion is the alarm. Resistance is the marker. And the pattern of fighting against what should have already fallen is the cycle we are going to break right now. What you call bad luck or a desert is actually the preparation for an authority you have not yet dared to claim. It is not about what you do, it is about what you allow to stay or leave. Imagine, if you will, your name as a garden that was entrusted to you before you even arrived in this world. That soil is your identity, the ground where your purpose should flourish, gathering the dew of mornings and the light of clarity. But in recent seasons, you have noticed weeds growing where there should be peace. You have noticed uninvited visitors coming through your gate, bringing with them frequencies of doubt, of unnecessary urgency, of fear about what others think of who you are. They did not ask permission to enter, they just settled in. They planted seeds of anxiety that sprouted too quickly, smothering what you tried so zealously to cultivate. You feel that this garden is being invaded by voices, by criticisms, by expectations that were not designed for your soil. And that is why, when you try to plant a seed of joy, it seems to wither before it sprouts. This garden, your name, has become a battlefield where external frequencies dictate the rhythm of your heart. You feel you have lost control of the fence, that the gate has been left open for anyone to enter and have a say about what should be harvested in your own life. But listen carefully, because this is the moment of the turn. The pain you feel, that tightness in your chest, that tiredness that does not go away with sleep, is not a punishment. It is not there because you missed the path or because you were forgotten. The pain is the alarm of a guardian who realizes something is wrong inside the garden. It is the urgent call to authority. You are not being punished by the desert. You are being trained to become the owner of the gate. The resistance you face is actually proof that you possess something precious that needs to be protected. What comes against your name tries to take advantage of your kindness, your openness, your willingness to serve everyone, to drain your vitality and occupy the space that should be exclusive to your essence. But now, understanding has arrived. The pain is the reminder that you have the power, the mandate, to say what enters and what does not. You are not the victim of the frequency. You are the gardener of the garden. You are not here to suffer the invasion. You are here to bind the entrance and expel what does not belong to your purpose. Let this recognition seal the ground where truth has just landed. The act of typing those 3 words makes the guardian inside you rise and take its post. Type, firm and aware, and then immediately return to me. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight you carry begin to dissolve just by recognizing who the true owner of this space is. If this truth has touched what was hidden, let your like be your wordless amen. Not as a calculation, not as a metric, but as a silent gesture of agreement, an invisible seal that says what was named here was named accurately. The solution, therefore, does not require more physical effort, nor more hours of work, nor more sacrifices of yourself. The solution is the return to your place of authority. It is the act of binding. Binding what comes against your name means declaring with the voice of the Spirit that the frequency of scarcity, the frequency of fear, the frequency of doubt, and the frequency of others' opinions no longer have free passage. You do not need to fight the weeds one by one. You just need to close the gate and strengthen the frequency of your identity. When you bind the interference, the garden begins to heal on its own. What is yours, what belongs to your name, begins to flourish with a strength you have not seen in years. You realize that unbinding what was stuck to your destiny, those weights you carried out of loyalty to a past that has already ended, is just as important as binding what tries to enter. It is a double movement of cleansing and protection. You take off what holds you back and seal what drains you. You stop explaining, stop justifying, and return to positioning yourself. Authority does not need to shout. Authority imposes itself by the simple fact of being who it is. You are the gardener who finally realized the garden is sacred and that your peace is non-negotiable, not accessible to those who do not understand the honor of being there. What comes against your name will find a locked gate, not out of hatred, but out of zealous care for what was given to you. You are, in this moment, retaking the keys. You are, in this moment, clearing the paths. And everything necessary for your harvest will begin to arrive, because now the environment is clean, now the space is protected, now your name resonates only with the truth you yourself have authorized. Feel this calm. Feel the responsibility of being who you are. Feel that by binding what does not belong, you finally give space for what is true to breathe. The tiredness leaves when authority arrives. Confusion dissolves when the boundary is established. You are changing the frequency of your ground. You are transforming your name into a place of absolute authority. There is someone walking beside you, perhaps inside your own home or in the silence of your routine, who carries exactly the same weight you have just identified. It is someone who has been working far beyond what others can see, someone who maintains a posture of resilience, even when exhaustion seems to drain the very color from their skin. That person now has a face. You can see their expression, the way they go quiet so as not to bother others, the way they accept overloads as if they were the only possible destiny. They are waiting for a word that does not come from ordinary advice, but from an authority that recognizes the battle they are fighting. Send this message to them now, not as someone suggesting content, but as someone delivering a tool of protection. Deliver it like someone handing over a key. What was revealed here today is not meant to be kept in a single life, because the name that needs to be protected and the authority that needs to be exercised are often part of a mission that crosses bonds. Before this moment closes, you need one last gesture of confirmation, something that is not just an idea, but a commitment. Do not do this as a request or a distant hope. Type it as a confirmation from someone who already understands that your name is not property of any energy or circumstance that tries to override it. Type slowly. Let the movement of your fingers accompany the movement your spirit has already begun. What you are signing here now is the agreement that will define your posture for the coming months. You are declaring that authority has been retaken. You are declaring that your name is finally in your own hands and under the protection of that truth you have just recognized. Feel the firmness of this command. Feel the clarity that comes from taking your place. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. Your territory is under new guard. Your authority is your new boundary. Your name from now on dwells in the place it should never have left. You have felt as if there is a kind of trail left wherever you go, a shadow that insists on following your steps, even when you try to change direction. It is as if, instead of walking freely, there is an invisible weight attached to your name, an energy that insists on manifesting itself even before you arrive at places. This is not a coincidence. It is not just the accumulated fatigue of daily life on your shoulders. There is a battle being fought in a field you cannot see, but whose results you feel in your skin every morning. When you wake up with that feeling that you have already spent all your energy before even getting out of bed, what is happening is that your personal field is constantly being invaded by frequencies that do not belong to you. And it is exactly about this theft of authority that we are going to talk today, because the time for allowing these chains to attach themselves to your name has come to an end. From what you have been through, you have likely already noticed very specific signs. Maybe it is that door that always seems to be unlocked, but the moment you approach it, it simply closes with no logical justification. Or maybe it is that constant feeling that you are being forgotten, that people cannot see the value or intention behind your effort, as if your name is blurred in the book of others' lives. If you have been noticing these repetitions, these cycles that seem to have no end, know that there is a precise reason for it. The act of typing those 3 digits is your declaration that you are ready to interrupt this flow of resistance. It is a small gesture of recognition, a way of saying that you accept the truth about what is happening. Type 888, then immediately come back to me. The diagnosis for what you are living through is simpler than the complexity your mind tries to create. You have been operating from excessive effort, believing that your willpower is the only thing capable of opening the paths that have been blocked. But the truth is that you are trying to fight shadows that should have already dissipated. The pattern here is exhaustion from self-effort. You are spending your time trying to fix what you did not break, trying to open windows that were locked by external forces. And in doing so, you end up giving more authority to that resistance. You become a hostage to your own need to prove you are capable, while your true power, the power of your identity, remains underused. It is as if you are holding the end of a rope that is no longer attached to anything, just wasting the energy that should be invested in your own building. Imagine now, for a moment, your name as a garden, a vast personal space where everything that is yours should flourish. In this garden of the name, you are the only guardian, the only voice with authority to decide what comes in and what goes out. Yet, because of an inherited posture or a silent trauma, you left the gate open too long. External frequencies, expectations from people who are long gone, fears from past generations, all of these entered and began planting weeds in your soil. They feed on your vitality, they block the light that should reach your seeds. And that is why, when you try to plant something new, when you try a new project or a new phase, the harvest seems to shrink. It is not that the soil is not fertile, it is that the garden was invaded. The most important revelation you will receive today is that your pain is not a sign of punishment, but rather the alarm your spirit is sounding for you to finally assume your position as the guardian. You are not being punished. You are being called to bar the way. It is not a request, it is an acknowledgement. It is the seal that you accept responsibility for your own protection. By typing those 3 words, you make a commitment to your own inner space, making this awareness permanent in your personal record. Type, "I am ready," and then return here to continue. Consider that if this moment has brought some kind of relief or clarity to what you have been carrying, let your gesture of approval be your wordless Amen. It is not about metrics or counts, but about a silent agreement. When you recognize the truth, you seal it. When you engage with what resonates, you validate your own journey. The solution, therefore, does not require you to build anything new, nor to seek complex solutions outside yourself. The solution is the return. It is an act of dispossession. You need to begin binding everything that comes against your name. Binding here is not an act of aggression, it is an act of limit. It is saying, with the authority of the owner of the house, that certain energies, certain thoughts, and certain influences no longer have permission to circulate in your garden. You unbind the potential that was stuck and bind the resistance that hindered your growth. It is an exchange of positions. What was on the outside in command is now brought under your feet. What was at your center, suffocated, is now released to fill all the space. There is someone right now, at this exact second, who you know needs to hear this. Think of that person who has been working exhaustively without reaping fruit, who wears a smile on their face, but in the silence of the night carries an anguish no one else notices. That person whose eyes always seem to be searching for an exit that never appears. Their face came to your mind while I was speaking, didn't it? Do not keep this key only for yourself. Send this message as someone making a necessary delivery, not as a suggestion, but as support for someone who, like you, is about to reclaim their own territory. The authority you exercise is not over the world, but over the environment you inhabit. When you decide that your name can no longer be used as a channel for chaos, you establish an invisible boundary that no external frequency is allowed to cross. The weight you have felt on your shoulders is not a load you must carry. It is the result of having left the door open for visitors who should not be at your table. Notice that when you close the entrance, the silence that settles in is not empty. It is the space needed for your own voice to finally be heard. You have been striving to prove your worth in places that were never built to recognize you, and that exhaustion is the sign that you are operating outside your original territory. There is power in stopping trying to convince the world who you are. When you stop, your magnetic field reorganizes. What was scattered in 1,000 directions begins to converge to your center, and the confusion that used to cloud your plans starts to dissipate. You do not need to ask permission to occupy the space that already belongs to you by right of existence. The resistance you encounter is not an obstacle on your path. It is the direct reflection of your hesitation to take command. If you still feel that your life is a succession of events over which you have no control, know that this is the illusion that time has tried to keep alive. The truth is that your authority has always been intact, only forgotten under layers of others' expectations. The reconnection with your essence happens the moment you stop looking outward, seeking signs of validation, and turn your eyes inward, where authority rests. It is not about winning a battle against something external. It is about declaring peace within yourself so that the external aligns with your new posture. The doors that are closed are not a no. They are a not yet that waits for your change of frequency. When you align your word with your truth, the universe has no choice but to respond to this new decree. Your identity is not what others say, nor what your mistakes suggest. Your identity is the constant that remains, even when everything around seems to be in constant motion of change. Understand that what you bind here, in the quiet of your spirit, takes form in the reality you touch. It is a process of cleansing, of removing the foreign objects that were left in your garden during sleep. You are not destroying anything, you are just returning everything to its proper place. What is not yours goes back where it came from. What is yours is restored. This is the moment to establish that your name has weight, that your time has value, and that your energy is too sacred to be wasted on what does not contribute to your expansion. Feel the firmness of this new positioning. Feel how the air around you seems denser, more real, more in tune with the person you are becoming right now in this very moment of clarity. There is no hurry, no fear, only the quiet of someone who has finally understood their own position in the order of things. You are the guardian of that garden, and the only permission that matters is the one that comes from your own center, aligned with the source of all that exists. This deep cleansing you now begin is the restoration of your original sovereignty. When you finally understand that you do not need to ask permission to be who you were designed to be, the chains holding back your progress lose their strength. They are not cut by an external force, but by your conscious decision to no longer sustain them with your attention. The resistance you felt until now was only the echo of your own doubt, but that doubt is being replaced by an absolute certainty rising from within you. Notice that there is someone in your circle, someone you see often, whose face just came to your mind as we spoke. That person carries exactly this same weight, working tirelessly in silence while watching the doors that should open remain locked. They possess genuine kindness, almost hidden resilience, and a thirst for meaning that no one around fully understands. Send this message to them now, not as casual advice, but as a necessary delivery. They need to know that their effort has not gone unnoticed and that the time for change has come. Do this as an act of care, a gesture from someone who recognizes a fellow traveler on the same path. Feel the weight of the words we still have to seal. What has happened here in these minutes is not just a conversation, but a pact of alignment between your intention and the structure of your destiny. Before we close this encounter, take a deep breath and allow this truth to settle into every cell of your being. Now, type the phrase, "I am the chosen one," in the comments below. Do not do it as a request or a fleeting wish, but as a definitive confirmation of the authority you have just retaken. Write these words slowly, feeling the weight of each letter, letting your writing be the visible seal of a transformation that has already happened in the invisible. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. Your presence is needed wherever you step. From now on, your life is governed by the clarity you yourself have established. Right now, all across the world, others like you are going through this same process of awakening, receiving the same confirmation you received here. You are not alone on this journey. You are part of a silent movement that does not need fanfare to change reality, because your strength comes from the very source of existence. What was aligned today cannot be moved by time or circumstances. It is sealed. Attention! You need to prepare yourself now. I have prepared material for those who doubt their own calling from God and still do not have confirmation. Are you one of the chosen? We'll give you that clarity. These are the 7 signs of the language of the calling, marks of God in the story of every chosen one, so you can reread your story and recognize the purpose sealed over you before the foundation of the world. Stop calling coincidence what is actually a calling. Stop silencing the sacred restlessness. Stop postponing the answer you feel. Your window is closing, and a chosen one who does not recognize the calling does not walk in purpose. More than 10,000 people have already read the 7 signs and received the conviction they had been seeking for years. They were just like you. They felt something no one understood. They lived in silent doubt, and they discovered it was real. And it had a name. The offer is open only this month. Access the link in the pinned comment now, before doubt steals another year from your calling.